The visitors in Dialogue and Silence react in a very, very positive way. It is again a very emotional experience. In the beginning, people cannot believe how they really will survive, how they can really understand what's going to happen. Everything is, how to say, based on communication, on body language, on facial expression, of talking with your hands, you are hearing with your eyes. It's completely uncomfortable in the beginning, but little by little transformation is happening and people get used to it. And at the end, there is a very, very easiness, I think, to talk even without understanding or knowing the language. They are very, very interested in the deaf community. And again, a shift is happening. Before, being in contact with a deaf person is somehow very, very complicated. Suddenly it becomes a matter of interest, and people are really, how to say, very open and interested to understand what it means actually to be deaf. We are not teaching sign language. It's not a sign language class. We have only a few signs actually we are using for the communication, but the rest is much, much more imagination, creativity, fantasy, which helps, I think, to talk in a completely different way. For deaf people, it is, of course, a unique opportunity to train themselves how to communicate with hearing people. So they learn a lot about, let's say, themselves. They learn a lot about the hearing society, and actually the empathy is increasing. The deaf community is a very isolated community. They stay very close together because they have no issues with communication when they are amongst themselves. It's very complicated actually for a deaf person to communicate with a person who is hearing and has no understanding how deaf people communicate. And then little by little, I think we are succeeding that there is an openness from either side, from the deaf side towards the hearing society, and from the hearing society towards the deaf community. In the beginning, thinking about dialogue and silence in Japan, I was a little bit hesitant because in my superficial view, coming from far, Germany is pretty far. I thought, well, the Japanese public may not appreciate to express, for instance, with a face, because again, I don't see the nuances, I don't see the differences in the Japanese faces. For me, it's more or less the same, and especially when it comes, I think, to certain other emotions, I cannot sense it. I cannot read your face. And all what I thought is that Japanese people, Japanese culture is more a controlled ones and not expressing like Italians, for instance. Because this is, how to say, very, very, would be very, very strange to see a Japanese like this. So, but of course, this was a mistake and I have to correct myself. I think there is there is a culture of silence. There's a culture of, how to say, of pure, let's say, situations. We were thinking about the no theater, which is really, really reduced. There's a wonderful book, The Praise of Shadow by Junichiro, Japanese philosopher, where you understand the importance of shadows. Non-verbal communication, sign language is the only language which actually produces shadows. So there are a lot of, how to say, similarities. And I think dialogue and silence will be a success in Japan because it fits 100% to Japanese culture, to Japanese, let's say, appreciation, to Japanese way to be. So I had to shift, I have to correct my stupid assumption. Olympic Games in Tokyo will definitely generate a lot of, let's say, visitors from abroad. I think this is a big event and millions of people will come to Japan, and only a few people actually are able to speak Japanese, that's clear. What we dream about is that dialogue and silence can give a certain push, I think, to maybe to change the models, to change the mode, and that people are open to learn maybe a few signs that they can break the ice and can talk together. It's also amazing to see how quickly you understand certain signs, even if you don't understand the language. For instance, this is of course eating. This is very clear. But when you tell me in Japanese eating, I have no understanding what it is. So I hope that we will succeed to communicate, to promote non-verbal communication as a tool to bring people from really different cultures, different nations, different backgrounds together for the sake of a one world idea.